up, guys? This is Casey is Raw again, and sorry about if you can barely see me. I just literally just got out of work and it's dark. So, and I'm not gonna just turn the light on for this review. So, this past weekend I watched Tiger King Season 2 Part 2, pretty much. Pretty much. Some people probably Season 2 is already done. Well, they had 3 more episodes released about Doc Antle. Doc Antle. One thing we learned, his first name was Kevin. Pretty much the 3 episodes were pretty much a hit piece on Doc Antle. I mean, in the first season, he was pretty much probably the best one in the whole series. I mean, I know I'm gonna get people pissed off, minus Carol Baskins, because I mean, with me and my ex-girlfriend, we were watching this, and it was like, and she was totally pro Joe. I was sitting watching, like, Joe's no angel. I mean, some of the shit I heard during that whole season, I was like, I mean, Carol's not perfect. I mean, until there's proof on her that she killed her husband. I mean, I had some dick, like days after my wife passed, send me a text message. It's like, I know what really happened. I'm like, whatever, asshole. I'm like, if there was some foul play with what happened to my wife, the cops would pull me in. But that's none of your damn business. But, I mean, so, being as a widower, I guess that's what they call a male spouse, had lost a female spouse. But, looking from that end, I'm like, you have to have proof before you just throw that accusation at her like that. And it's been over 20-something plus years and still nothing. I hate to say that, but, I mean, but that's no here nor there. So, I'm just saying, I felt she wasn't as bad as much people, perceive as it. But as Doc Antle, I mean, he was pretty much, the best place for the Tigers. And at the he had a lot of women in his life. He's lucky enough. I mean, he has a lot of partners. I mean, hey, if the women allows it, more power to him, The only bad thing is to learn is that apparently he was into young women. No, not even women, young girls, like 14, 15 years old. Like, and then, like, at one point, his wife, one of his ex-wives, I guess, saying that, he told her that, he was attracted to her since she was 11. I'm like, fuck. How could you do that? But, are you shocked when you marry someone at 15 years of age? But, to me, And then, they apparently forge the father's signature to get married. It's just weird. But then, he might have been with some of these women later on as longer partners, like China for a long time. Yeah, but if you start with them when they're like teenagers, under 18, I'm like, that's shady business. I mean, but it seemed like James Garrison, I guess that's what his name, said that all these big cat people are crazy and they're nuts. And you know what? They really are. I mean, God, look at Joe Exotic. Then look at Jeff Lowe with his criminal past and his wife, and then their swinger life. And then you got Tim Stark, who just, brash, where he's like, fuck you, fuck this, and even say, talk down to a judge. Like, wow. I mean, that's not good. And that's part of season 2 where Tim Stark lost all his animals. And then, learning he pretty much has a second personality, a multiple personality called Sue. And like when he's actually in a good mood, that he's in such like 2 different types of people where he actually has a nickname for that. I'm like, wow. I mean, I can understand some days are happier than in a better mood than most some days, but to the point where you actually have a nickname for that day, or you actually have multiple personalities. And then, Carol, I mean, the whole shadiness around Carol. And now Doc Antle. And one thing I had to say about at the very end of the first season, they were saying Doc Antle got raided. They did not say jack shit about that raid. They didn't say anything about it. Couldn't wait to say what happened about that raid. It was more like a origin story for Doc Antle. I mean, it goes back where a place called Yogaville, with this Swami guy, pretty much a guru, and Doc Antle was a really bad magician. Like, he's like, this card's like the 3 of hearts when it's the 3 of diamonds. But I mean, maybe that's what he meant, but he fucked up. I mean, the whole thing, and I don't know what's the whole thing with magic tricks and having big cats. I mean, both him, and maybe that's where Joe Exotic stole it from, the idea. It's like, well, look what Doc Antle's doing, so let's start doing magic tricks. But, I mean, he even turned those 3 episodes, Joe Exotic's like, this is what I want us to be, and it's Doc Antle's tiger. Talk about his zoo. And it's like, we want to look like jungle keepers, where, they're all wearing in brown uniforms, like jungle keepers, where the people who works in the jungles. I mean, jungle. But it's a good show. Like I said, it was pretty much a hit piece. And then the last episode was pretty much about this one guy who they think Doc Antle probably pushed over a waterfall. But it was pretty much the whole episode was about that. So I'm glad they did that, because I was like, after the first season, it was like 8 episodes, and then second season was 5. So I just happened to stumble across on Netflix with 3 episodes of Doc Antle. And that made sense why he wasn't on. They didn't talk about him during season 2. And I wonder if they're going to do that further on, because they really didn't talk too much about the people on that used to work with Joe Exotic at the GW Zoo. So I'm wondering if they're going to extend it even longer and do something about that. Because, like I said, I was wondering why they didn't do anything about Doc Antle. So, but, a lot of times when people find out about a hit piece instead of what they originally was told, but then it's something else, like the whole thing with the first part of Tiger King, they're like, it's supposed to be this, and it's a swerve, and it's something else. I mean, do you really blame them when, like, you have something that's going to create a ton of money? I would do the exact same thing. I'm sorry. I mean, you're going to ignore the whole thing about him, Joe Exotic, going for president, going for governor of Oklahoma. The whole thing about him being allegedly, the whole thing about, the murder for hire case. It's just I would have done the exact same thing who sold the series to Netflix. I would have done the exact same thing. I'm sorry, maybe it's ruthless, but people got into it. I'll be right back, guys. So, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. But I feel like the first 2 episodes were good. I mean, third was okay, but I'm definitely I actually kind of rewatched it a little bit, but I kind of almost want to rewatch it again. I mean, it's addictive. I mean, you can't just watch the season just once. I mean, that's what happened to me during the first season and the second season. So, I'm definitely going to re-watch it again. But, I mean, I did figure the way a lot of times Doc Antle was talking, he did kind of look nutty. Like when he's, anytime it sounds like you're going to talk about a cult, it's like when he was saying, you're going to talk about a cult. I heard the same thing for over 30 years. You're not going to tell me anything new. And he does this whole smile and, his head going all over the place. I was like, oh God, that guy looked a little nuts right there. But I was like, I probably chalked up him being a little eccentric. But it's just wild, crazy. There's a lot of these people are sexual. I mean, yeah, I can understand being sexual, but there's when you are everything that on these episodes were about sexual. I mean, shoot, looking from Joe Exotic having 2 husbands to like a very young 19 or 20 year early 20-year-old husband, give or take around there, to the point where when they divorced, like the guy was like, I just want to have a life. I mean, when you have your spouse looks like he's gonna be in jail for 22 years. Let's say the guy is 20 years old, or even he would be 3 years older than I am before that guy would get out. So you would have a huge chunk of your life waiting for him. So I would divorced as well. But and then Jeff Lowe and his wife, just hooking up with everyone left and right. Well, anyone that's a female. To the point where, Code 69. But, so they can hook up with a chick. But I highly suggest watching it. So, yeah, so you guys have a good day. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.